Hi, I'm Katie Boz, professional illustrator, author, and Posh Coloring Studio featured artist. Copic markers are a great tool for coloring, but they do come with a learning curve. Here are my go-to tips for beginners looking to give them a try. Copics are high-quality alcohol-based markers. They're awesome because they're really cool with blending. There are 4 different styles: classic, chow, wide, and sketch, each with a variety of nibs you can swap in. I will be using the Copic sketch style marker with mostly the brush tip nib. This one is really good for things that are a bit more loose or organic. You can fill in like solid blocks of color with this really nicely. What makes Copics unique and pretty awesome is that the inks are refillable and can even be mixed to create your own color. The nibs are also replaceable, which comes in handy if they ever become dull or damaged over time. Copic markers are a bit on the pricey side though, ranging from about $2 to $9 each, depending on what type and where you buy them from. At first glance, the labels for Copic markers can seem confusing, but with a little explanation, they're actually easy to follow. Each marker is identified by a color code of letters and numbers. The letter indicates the color family. So this marker, for example, is an R, and that would mean red family. You may notice 2 letters on your marker, such as BG, and that would mean blue-green family. The first number indicates color saturation and intensity, or how pure a color is. This number can range from 0 to 9. 0 would be a very pure, saturated color with no gray in it, and 9 would be a very desaturated color with lots of gray in it. The second number indicates how light or dark a color is. This number can range from 000 to 9. 000 would be a very light, barely there color, and 9 would be a very dark color. Because Copics are permanent markers, the ink can bleed and feather at the edges. We recommend printing your coloring page on a thick, heavy cardstock. I'll be using a 100-pound cover speckle tone paper. It adds a really nice touch to the coloring page when it's done. Unless you are using a paper specifically made for alcohol-based markers, the ink will probably bleed through, but that's okay because that's normal. For good results, you should place a few pieces of scrap paper under the printed design. Today, I'll be demonstrating a few techniques for basic coloring and blending with Copics using a coloring page from my book, Don't Worry, Eat Cake. When you first start out using Copics, it can be tricky to get the color to lay down evenly. It's best to not use zigzag strokes because that can lead to uneven color distribution. You can use small, even circles to fill areas with color. You can also use controlled flick-like strokes. So with this, the edges are a bit darker, but in the middle, both sides will even out as they're lightly layered over each other. You want to work pretty quickly while the ink is still damp, because if it dries, you can sometimes end up with a hard edge of color, which can be difficult to blend, or when you're finished, it might just look uneven. Beyond coloring solid blocks of color, there are 2 main ways to blend Copic markers. You can use an array of 2 or more colors themselves, or use the colorless blender. When you want to blend colors, you should pick colors that are in the same color family because those will look the nicest when you blend them together and it will appear the most seamless. For the second number, the one that indicates how light or dark a color is, you'll want to stick to colors that are within 2 to 3 numbers of each other, although you can experiment outside of that range. Some of my markers, for example, have a difference of 5. It's recommended that you use the lightest color first and then gradually add in the darker shades. Start by coloring the entire desired area with the lightest color first. Then gradually use the darker color using controlled flick-like strokes, lifting the marker slightly at the end of the stroke. This is to help you prevent getting that hard line of color. Then you'll take that lighter color again and you'll go over and blend where the 2 colors meet. Use the lighter color to pull the darker color to help you get a nice seamless gradient. The colorless blender has the same solution as the markers, but without color. The main feature of the blender is that it actually removes ink. This feature can help you blend colors, remove colors, fix mistakes, and add really fun textures to your designs. One technique you can try is to begin by covering the entire desired area with the colorless blender solution first. Then you'll take the darker color and color that in the areas that you want it while that colorless blender solution is still damp. Now you'll take the lighter color and go over that whole area. You can just blend over everything. And I'm using small even circles to do this area. Another technique you can try is to start with the darkest color first. So you color that in the area that you want it, and using those controlled flick-like strokes again. Then you'll take the colorless blender and go over and color that while it's still damp. So you just blend over that dark color. You can see that it's lightening up slowly. Now you'll take the lighter color and go over that whole area and blend it. The colorless blender is a great tool for adding highlights. You can lighten up certain areas of colored artwork to add depth and help things appear more three-dimensional. The colorless blender is awesome for helping you fix mistakes and clean up edges. So you simply use small strokes in one direction, and you just push the ink back to where it's supposed to go. The blender makes for really fun textures and patterns too. You can try things like stripes or polka dots to add some interest. When you first put the marker down, you can't see anything, but then slowly after you'll see that the ink is moving away from where you touched down. So you can kind of see it spreading away. I know Copic markers can seem a little intimidating, but now you have a basic knowledge so you can experiment and create something fun for yourself.